Good day everyone, my name is Jean Cloud Jibuchong. Today, we are going to talk about history of conservation and environmentalism. So, writers and thinkers articulated many of our modern ideas about environment and its resources in the past 150 years. Although many earlier societies had negative impact on their ecosystem, recent technological innovation have significantly increased our results. So, we can divide the conservation history and environmental activism into four distinct stages. First is pragmatic resources conservation. Second, moral and aesthetic nature preservation. Third, growing concern about health and ecological damage caused by pollution. And last, global environmental citizenship. First, pragmatic utilitarian resource conservation. George Perkin Mars. He wrote Man and Nature and published in 1864. His article is a warning about environmental damage in the western states. His article also influenced the creation of the National Forest Reserve in 1873. George Perkin Mars influenced Theodore Roosevelt and his conservation advisor Gifford Pinchot. President Theodore Roosevelt and Gifford Pinchot argued that forests should be saved not because they are beautiful or because they shelter wild creatures, but only to provide homes and jobs for people. And according to Gifford Pinchot, use forests for the greatest good for the greatest number of people for the longest possible time. Next is ethical and aesthetic concern of preservation movement. So John Muir, he was the first president of Syria Club, and he wrote, "The world, we are told, was made for man." John Muir argued that nature deserved to exist for its own sake regardless of degree of usefulness to human, and his article called Biocentric Preservation. It is because it emphasized the fundamental rights of other organisms to exist and pursue their own interests. Third is rising pollution level lead to the modern environmental movement. The undesirable and unpleasant result of biochemical pollution have probably recognized as long as those forest destruction. In England, 1273, King Edward I frightened his people to hang his coat burning coal in London. So, Rachel Carson wrote The Silent Spring in 1962. Her article awakened the public to the threat of pollution and toxic chemicals to human and other species. Rachel Carson, also considered as one of the founders of environmentalism. So fourth is environmental quality is tied to social progress. Most environmental leaders have seen social justice and environmental equity as closely linked to Gifford Pinchot, Teddy Roosevelt, and John Muir. All strove to keep nature and resources accessible to everyone. At a time when public land, forests, and waterways were increasingly controlled by a few wealthy individuals and private corporations. One of the core concepts of modern environmental thought is sustainable development. So, that's all. Again, my name is Jean Cloud Jibuchong. Thank you for listening. hope you learned something.